Welcome to The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, a Let's Play by Link6616, my awakening as a Let's Player. This episode, we're doing the Phrase Shrine, which my playthrough of this will be very quick, because once you know what you're doing, it's a very simple dungeon. However, and I think at this point I've ruined my ability to really enjoy some of the simpler dungeons, because I've simply been playing these games for far too long. I know part of what makes Zelda dungeons work, I think, is not knowing. And this is why the games fundamentally lack a certain amount of replayability, because the better your memory, the worse they get with each playthrough. Although I have been enjoying this playthrough a great deal. Anyway, so this dungeon has a lot of really nice mysteries going on here. It has a decent bit of telegraphing. It has a few things that seem a little difficult almost for the sake of being difficult. But given the benefit of the doubt, this dungeon is really quite complex in a lot of interesting ways, and I think manages to overcome that its dungeon item isn't that interesting actually. But it is one of the items you get right away. Like, we're going to get this dungeon item right now, and I think this video isn't even a minute long yet. Although, I might be proven wrong. Let's be efficient. And a more powerful bracelet. Not a more powerful power bracelet, but a more powerful bracelet. And now we can lift elephant statues. Isn't that lovely? In the Oracle games, I think one of the more interesting differences is that you get either the level 2 power bracelet or the level 2 Rock's Feather. Which I think, you know, you get both these items very late. They don't make a huge difference in the actual game itself. But they do make a difference. And I think that's sort of why I probably like Oracle Seasons more, because it's a little bit more movement focused than Ages. Ages has a slightly more deliberate feeling to it, outside of when you get the Mermaid's Tail. That is pretty awesome. But that's another story for another Let's Play. And I could do that with bombs, and I probably should. You can do it with a Duvalaki boomerang if you really want to. And I will need to get more magic powder after this, because while it's not that important, it is going to be needed. So, let us progress more. Oh, that's right. A lot of doors in this dungeon require a pot thrown at the thing, which, for a dungeon based around Power Bracelet, seems like a pretty legitimate way to go about things. Yes, and I'm sure the compass did not have that feature in Link to the Past, or the original Zelda, if the original Zelda had the compass at all. However, I really don't like how it tells me that every single time. Now there's no real need to actually do both of these together. It just makes me feel special. Oh, I can throw them at things. That's cool. I never knew that. I don't know how I've never known that before. Probably because it doesn't occur to me that you can lift enemies. That's cool. Sorry, it's when you don't notice things in games you love. When you don't notice many new things, it's just always magical to sort of see something be new again. Let's get more rupees. This is a little cool. The item isn't, but the fact that the dungeon leads out here, I'm like, since we've actually come via the rapids, it makes more sense. But I'm pretty sure... No, there's something more here, I'm sure, that I need to do before I go to the side of the dungeon again. I don't know what these are supposed to be. Knights from thing? Anyway, you throw them till they both stand up, and it's not very interesting at all. So that's done. This dungeon's a little bit more complex, so I can't quite just blitz through it. A stone beak, fair enough. And that's been done, this has been dealt with. Go through here. Across, down. I'm gonna need to activate that thing. And when I say that thing, I mean the crystal ball. Anyway, so I think what makes this dungeon a bit interesting now how do I do this properly? Oh, I can just go to the front of the dungeon anyway. So I think what makes this dungeon interesting is that there is a decent amount of space to cover, and you have to keep in mind whether that orb's set or not in relation to where you're exploring next. Which isn't a big thing, but it does make the dungeon feel a lot more interconnected, as opposed to a bunch of sort of fairly insignificant small rooms. Which I think is something that a lot of these dungeons tend to have a feeling of, although it's hard to get around that given the system limitations in Link's Awakening, where each dungeon room can only be a single screen big. There's no scrolling or anything like that. So let's start off by taking the side door and see what's here for us. And kill the last Wizrobe. No, I can't hurt them by just throwing them. I have to still bomb. Though I can throw them into each other, I guess. Which is something. Now, in that chest is secret medicine, which, while being useful, is hardly essential right now. And let's just progress a little bit more. So yes, as I was saying, I think that there is something that is very difficult to reconcile with Zelda games and replaying them, especially if you are already if you're already quite familiar with it. It's very difficult to forget some of these solutions, because a lot of them are a little bit clever, or they're telegraphed a little bit, and so once you already have known the solution, it's much easier to spot what you need to look for. Which changes up things quite considerably. As such, I think that while it's sort of safe to say you can replay these games, I very much enjoy replaying this, there is a consumable element to Zelda. You know, you can never have an experience that quite rivals the first time you play it. But this isn't really a bad thing, I think. Because, you know, as we sort of see, clever design is something that's interesting, and to an extent, even if you know the answers, it's worth seeing again. It's like a movie with a great plot twist. Even though the experience is slightly ruined because you know the plot twist, seeing how it's built up and knowing the answer, already, and then seeing how people get to that answer, and how the movie suggests that answer in a way that doesn't just feel silly. Oh, we have a Lost Woods puzzle going here. So this little area will loop itself indefinitely, which is important because you can actually get this key before getting the power bracelet, meaning that this room you wouldn't be able to progress past. But you know there's something there. And I'm not sure how established it's been that a lot of the stairways are surrounded by that sort of 3x3 grid of coloured things, but other dungeons have used that iconography, that symbol before, to denote that something is actually a stairway, or that something important is inside the centre. These tiles are kind of interesting until you realise that the corner is the best place to fend them off, because some of them hurt themselves, most of them don't get to you, you only need to shield from one side. There's not really a lot of interesting stuff going on here. Let's try going north first. That seems like the sensible choice. Oddly enough, I haven't actually done much fighting at all in this dungeon. It's fairly cerebral, I guess. Except for these things. I don't know what the designers were thinking in this otherwise pretty consistently good game. I guess there is kind of a slight gambling aspect, which they're probably picking up on, with it's used only sparingly, but a few dungeons use the slash the creatures with the different heart symbol, the different suits from cards. Quick rundown for these monsters, sorry. In the Famicom version of Legend of Zelda, Pole's voice could be killed by speaking into the microphone on the second controller. In the American version, that wasn't the case. However, music kills them in any Zelda game they appear in. And that is important to know. Yay, Guardian Acorn! Now I think I've already pondered the question of, do these things stack? And the answer is, I don't know, sorry. I really should look it up, given I probably ask this every second time I get these items. I wonder what's here. I didn't actually cover this area in my pre-play, so I'm not sure, honestly. More. 200. Isn't that like 400 rupees I've earned in this dungeon? What do these people expect me to spend the money on? I mean, there's not enough things to buy. Am I supposed to go on raft trips every second minute? I feel like I've done this before. Oh, of course I have. I did it in the pre-play. Righty-o then. Now these are much easier if you can get them into a corner. Although, just running up to them and placing mobs in front of their mouth usually works. Radio then, and then we hookshot across to get to the most important key in the dungeon, the Nightmare Key. And this chest is a little bit different, because as we go to it, we can't actually open it. Let's see what the analysts say. Which, there's only really one option. I'm not sure how I feel about that puzzle. It's a nice way to integrate the idea of using the power bracelet to get the final key. At the same time, it's terribly contrived. Nothing else acts. We have had the example that doors act like this. But it seems odd that just a single chest would act like this, as opposed to multiple doors. You know what? Let's use the power of friends. You know, a little bit of variance never hurt. Righty-o then. Now, the question is, I can't remember where I go next. This is an interesting conundrum. And I only just did this dungeon too. I'm gonna backtrack and get myself the map. Which seems very counterintuitive for an effective playthrough. You know, well, not effective, but you know, try and be relatively quick about it. But I honestly have totally forgotten how to get to the Nightmares room. So, time to find out. Oh, I have the sword equipped again. Hello, sword. Ah, nostalgia. Oh, now I think you can actually squeeze through that door, and it's all fine. Let's see if I am so lucky. I am! but that's not why I need to do this. Radio, then boomerang and bombs. Rightio then, now we have a map, and now we hopefully have a solution. So it's probably something like that. Actually, what does that mean? Yes, that means I need to go around and up. This doesn't seem like the right way. That seems like the right thing, though. Well, I apologize for being a little bit forgetful there, and for not being as talkative as I probably should be for a Let's Play, but these things happen. Anyway, so what particularly interesting topics have come up for this? Oh wait, I have done that. Mind. It must be something on the left side then, because this is most of the right side dealt with now. Which means I might as well go like this. Oh wait, there's a side space that I haven't even gone into. That would have been the way to go. Though I'm sure you approach it from the left side, but I can't see how you would. Anyway, sorry, the right side. I always get those mixed up, despite being fairly proficient at reading and so on, so it's not a dyslexic kind of situation. Yes. Hang on. I must have taken that. Yes, of course I did. Odd. Oh, I have one of the shutter buttons mapped onto a turbo function, which is why you occasionally see Link just flit very quickly, like that. I shouldn't actually use it during Let's Plays and try and avoid doing so, but sometimes bad habits come back. So I shouldn't be using it. But I do by accident because I'm like, oh, I can do this faster. Although, that's so much better. Now, have I gone to the side? Yes, I do remember going to the side, although... That's right, that's the chest. Let's try going north. So I've been through there. It must be through here. My apologies about the extra time. I really am not thinking quite fully at the moment. Right, now... I know, I didn't go down, did I? This is right. I like this puzzle actually, because it's a nice... You don't get to do environmental kills very often in this. And I do like that little change of pace. Now that creature there, you actually need the mirror shield to block his shots, otherwise you just have to dodge him. And... he's a bit painful at points. Now, since I'm going to get more magic powder after this anyway, I might as well demonstrate this. This is a nice little puzzle that's a good way to get lots of hearts if you haven't got the boomerang, as it kills both of them. And you've set up the idea that you should always light these fires, because there's always something good that happens. So it's a particularly nice change, I think. Well, not change, but it's a particularly nice puzzle. Here we have one of the dungeon's probably easiest bosses. So he basically controls the ground. He's a very, very easy boss. Although, well, I assume he's easy. If you didn't already know that you need to use bombs, I'm not sure how quickly you would have figured it out. And you will get hurt. And that is a nice little, like, I've mentioned it previously many times, that this is the point where the game starts to really try and hit home with the fact that this could all be a dream. Which I think is an interesting theme that they pull off well by having it being a core plot element. Because for a series that never really emphasized plot, they kind of go a bit full on with this idea. Especially for a Game Boy game. A 1993 or 4 Game Boy game, in fact. So, I hope you join me in the next episode where we work our way towards the Eagle's Tower. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy!